Well, hello there. Welcome back to the Kingdom Business Podcast. I'm your host, Erica Pyle, and Happy New Year, friend. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you're here with me, and I'm so glad that we're stepping into a new year together. So I took a couple weeks off from the podcast, and it's going to bother me. Do you see like there's a little thing that's poking up? We're going to fix it. We're just going to fix it. Like I've been off for 2 weeks from the podcast. And so things have gotten a little casual around here, a little casual. But I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be back with you. And so if you are new here, or if you are just getting reoriented in the new year with the Kingdom Business Podcast, I want to remind you that this is a podcast for the Kingdom woman who's looking to build, launch, and grow her business online using Kingdom principles. It's the place where faith finally meets real results and real things that you can do in your online business. We don't compromise or negotiate on our faith here, but we make sense of the strategies and the systems that are being offered to us out there in the market. And we know what's going to work for us as we are building our kingdom businesses online. And the other thing that's really important to know about this podcast is my heart around it is for it to be a done with you experience. So I know that might seem kind of weird for a podcast because it's like, if I'm just listening to you, how do we interact? Well, first and foremost, I record this podcast live on YouTube every week on Thursday at 3 p.m. generally. If I change that, I send an email out. I let you know that it's going to be different. But that's my goal, is each Thursday I'm recording a podcast episode on YouTube live. And so look, it's a little meta, but here I am with me on the screen talking to you while I'm on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube right now. But the live chat is open. And so I can actually see it up here on my screen. So if you have questions or thoughts as we're going through, it's almost like calling in, right? Hello, caller, where are you calling from? You can let me know in the chat and we can interact here. But if you are listening to the replay, or if you're watching the replay, let's say, because we're on, Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Amazon Music and all the different places that you can listen to podcasts now. If you're watching or listening on the replay, then what I encourage you to do is to come and follow me over on Instagram. I'm just at Erica Pyle, and jump into my DMs. Let me know that you are a KBP listener, and let me know what you're building. Let me know what your business is. And then we can connect there and we can begin to talk. I always also give you an activation step at the end of our episode so that you can start to activate what it is that we are learning or talking about in that session, so that you can actively begin to build, launch, and grow your business right alongside this podcast. And so I encourage you to have a notebook. Have a notebook that is just for the Kingdom Business Podcast, because it really is like a course, friend. It's like getting a free course. If you're willing to treat it that way, if you're willing to show up every Thursday at 3 o'clock with me, you're going to get something out of it. I host a mentorship called the Jesus Girl Gang Build with Faith Mentorship. And I have a bunch of ladies inside of that community that I coach on a daily basis. And we are very active in our program. We have a Facebook group community where people are, posting up questions, and they are posting assets for review. And we're looking at things together, and I'm actively coaching on a daily basis. Every Friday, we get together on a coaching call on Zoom, and I group coach for as long as people need to. And so those are the things that I do with high touch clients who want to be in that mentorship. And it's a good amount of money. And I also do workshops and I do programs throughout this, throughout the year. And those are opportunities to also come into closer proximity to me. But one of the things that I saw, and this is what we're going to be talking about today, is why does it feel harder to make sales in 2026? What's going on and what's shifted in the market? We're going to talk about the 10 massive shifts that have occurred in the last year in the online market. One of those things would be that people are looking for more proximity. They're looking for more done with you. And I just thought last year when I relaunched my podcast, I thought, I want to do a podcast like that. I want to do an experience where people can feel like we're connected in a way. And so I started doing it. And what's interesting is you may look and go, oh, I don't see a lot of comments on your video, so maybe it's not working. Can I tell you something? Most of my clients, most of the people who join my workshops, my programs, my mentorships, They come through my podcast. So I know that it's working. I know that I am giving value here that's meaningful, because this is where most of my girls are finding me. And so if you're here and this is resonating for you, it's clicking for you, just know that there is a journey for you up ahead if you choose to step into it. And we could go on that journey together if you wanted to. But your first best step is just to be a part of the podcast. Like I said, get a notebook and come follow me over on Instagram and get in my DMs and let me know that you're a listener. Okay. All right. So let's talk about what we're going to get into today. So today's episode is why selling online feels harder right now and what's changed for 2026. So let me be honest with you. I've been actually talking to you guys about this on the podcast for a little while now. Like in December, I did a couple of episodes where we talked about what's changing. But then what happened was I just did a workshop called the Plan Your Year Workshop. It was incredible. I had so much fun with all the women who came in for that workshop. And we did something new that I haven't done before. So part of the workshop was we did a week-long Voxer coaching thread, like a group coaching thread in Voxer. And it was so lit. Like there were so many people in there asking questions and really using it. And that's the thing that I love is when I say, look, I'm going to do a group coaching thread, utilize this, like get every ounce of it that you can. When women jump in and they're actually like dropping in assets and dropping questions and we're really getting engaged, I get so lit up. My soul sings because I'm like, yes, get everything that you got here. Get everything that you paid for. Now the workshop was $27 and I just obviously overgave in value because I'm wanting to see like where are my people that ultimately want to work with me and that I know are going to get value out of the programs that I have in the future. That's why I do the workshops. And so in this particular Plan Your Year workshop, I shared these 10 massive shifts that are going on in the market. And it was just a little piece of the workshop was these 10 massive shifts. So when I was done, I thought to myself, you know what? This is a really good thing to share on the podcast because it really will reorient the way that you think about building your business in this new year. And I know that that can feel a little scary. Like you might be like, Erica, I've been building this thing for like a year, 2 years now, and it's still not popping. It's still not working. And now you want me to be happy that you're about to tell me that a bunch of things changed. Well, I want you to reframe for a second. You are a kingdom woman who's building a business, right? Jeremiah 33:3 says, call to me and I'll answer you and tell you great and wonderful things that you did not know. And I really believe that everything that you need, God is going to put at your fingertips, at your brain cell tips. Like you're going to be able to get what it is that you need. And if you're here in this community, then hands down, definitely, because that's what I pursue the Lord on every single day is how can I help these women to build the business that moves the kingdom forward, that brings you glory, that serves the people that you've called them to serve. How do I do that? And so I'm constantly pursuing the Lord on that truth. And so I want you to reframe and not be nervous or afraid that it's like, oh, here's one more thing that I need to do to change, right? So that it can. Listen, what if this is the pivot that changes everything? What if, and that's what I said to my Plan Your Year participants. I said, you know what? I truly believe that we're perfectly positioned as kingdom individuals for this new season because the things that people are looking for, that the buyer is looking for in this season, kingdom entrepreneurs, it's a natural. It's your autopilot. It's how we operate. And so if we just look through that lens and begin to just slightly arrange, slightly adjust the things that we're doing, then I believe that we can be highly successful in this new year. But you need to know the shifts. You need to know them because if you learned online marketing and online business promotion in say the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years, it's all different. So, for instance, like the algorithm and AI, like we went from an algorithm based machine in the back end to AI. And so it really becomes important for you to understand the difference between like I have a client who has a blog and is working a lot on SEO. And in my program, the Jesus Girls Business Blueprint, I have a whole module that talks about findability because SEO is going away. Like if you, I just personally, my opinion and my professional opinion, really, and in some cases, I would even call it expert level, because I work with people that are utilizing this, and I use these techniques in my own business, and not just for my business specifically, but I have a church, I have a ministry, and I have a whole community of people who have businesses that I'm helping, right? And so I can see the data. I can see in real time what's happening. And SEO it's really not as strong and pertinent as it used to be. And so if you're like, oh, well, I'm going to do all of these things to optimize SEO on my website, you might be wasting your time, because the real deal now is AI and its findability. And the language online has been keyword, right? Keyword. But I teach my students findability, because it's not just search engines. It's also social media. It is what's on your website, but how people get to your website might be different than the way that they used to get there. Like, it is very rare that people are utilizing search engines to find your website anymore. It is more likely that they're on a social media app and it's a link in bio or something like that. And so we've really got to think about findability. So algorithm, like all these algorithms that are on these platforms are changing, and they are primarily going to an AI motor. And that's that's a very different, it's like going from 2D to like 4D. And the connections that AI can make based on the information that's given, it's so much more robust than what an algorithm can do. And so I don't want us to get stuck in that place that keeps on building what we're building online with algorithms in mind. Like, we need to forget the algorithm, because right now AI is powering everything. And so you got to build what you're building online with AI in mind. Also, big launches, like big, shiny, like produced things, they're not working as much anymore. It really is about proximity. And what's also really interesting is that buyers, especially in the last 2 months of this past year, they got really quiet. It was weird. So when I do my launches, I generally do a 2-week registration period for my workshops. And it probably takes my ads about 2 days to heat up. Like, the first 2 days, it's a little wonky while the AI is figuring out what I'm doing, like what I'm talking about. And then it finds my people. And generally, Meta's ads, it takes, like I said, like 2 days to figure me out. And then it may go 4 days for learning. And then we're optimized, and then we're just jamming. And I have really good stats. So like, I feel like I'm a good example of using meta ads, because like I'm using them a lot, but also I'm using them well. Like, if you use meta ads, then this will mean something to you. If you don't use meta ads, it may not mean anything to you. But in my last launch, my cost per acquisition, my cost per acquiring a buyer was $30. So that's insane. Like, I even know, like, it's my stat, and I'm like, how did I do that? It's because of that. I did what I'm about to tell you. I honored these shifts. I saw these shifts happening in the market, and I changed how I advertised. I changed in the previous launch that I did. I had, because I was still figuring things out, my cost per acquisition in my previous launch was like $80. That's still ridiculously good. I'm working with clients who right now are telling me that their cost per acquisition, and their coaches, online experts, educators, community leaders, things like that, they're getting, I'm seeing their numbers are anywhere from like $200 to, I've seen people who are at $400. Like, and that's very high. Like, the 200 is much more average for this niche, for this area of the market. But I got to tell you, if you will grab a hold of these shifts, it's even affecting your ability to run cheaper ads, because I got more buyers for less money. I spent, like, my workshop was $27, and I had a VIP option, a $77 upgrade for the VIP, which people took. And so I don't know off the top of my head what my average cart was. I can't remember. But I can tell you for sure. I know I made money on the ads. And that's crazy. Like most people are doing an ad on the front end to liquidate their main offer. Like I was making money before I even pitched my main offer. So, like, this is a big deal. This is why I'm saying to you, if you will honor these shifts, if you will look at these shifts and see how can I put these into my business, I really believe that it's going to change things for you and it's going to cause selling to be easier for you in the new year. And that's even if you're experiencing what we're all experiencing, which is buyers are much more savvy. They are slower. Like I was saying, it normally takes like on my meta ads campaigns, it was taking like 2 days for them to figure it out. And then by 4 days, it was done learning. And then we were cooking. This launch, even though my cost per acquisition was very low, my meta ads were learning for more than 7 days. That's weird. That's weird for me. But what that says to me is that there's a lot shifting in the market, and what the AI thought that the buyers were going to do is not what they were going to do. I'm giving it really good creatives. I'm giving it really good copy. I'm telling it exactly in my creatives and my copy who I'm looking for. I'm making sure that I'm using buyer psychology and I'm calling out my ideal customer really well in both the creative, whether it's the video or the graphic, and then the copy itself. I'm giving a lot of information, and generally Meta can find my person in 2 to 4 days. But for whatever reason, it struggled. And I normally do a 2-week window for my ads registration, but I knew that because of the holiday, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a little more. And so I did a 21-day registration, and it took my ads like 10 days to figure out like where my buyers were. Once it did, then it was like boom, 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 boom. But in the beginning, and to be able to say that I got a 30-day cost per acquisition, even when for the first 10 days of my ads, it was a little crickets. I mean, it wasn't that no one was buying. It just was like, it was not normal. So this says to me, like, the buyers are really different right now. And especially in the last 2 months of 2025, it was really hard to figure out. And so that's why I did this part of the workshop where I talked about these 10 strategic or massive shifts that are happening in the market. So I want to share these with you. And I want you to consider, listen, I want to give you a scripture. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven." And we could look at this shift and we could think, wow, this is so hard. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this anymore. I mean, there are really big names in the business that are either shifting drastically or shutting down altogether because the market has changed so drastically. And you could look at it and go, well, the season has changed, so I guess I'm out of the market now, or it's never going to work. Or you could say, you know what, to everything there's a season, and this is my season. And if I can just resonate with the season, if I can unlock and download the revelation from heaven that I need to be really successful in this season, then I'm golden. And that's what I want you to come out of this with. Because once you see what these shifts are, I really believe that most of us are going to be able to implement these into our business without a lot of headache or hassle. So let's get into it, okay? The first strategic shift that's happened over the last year is this. We're going from freebie funnels to paid entry experiences. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you that you won't be able to get people to take your freebie. But what is happening now is real buyers, people who really want a transformation, people who really want a solution, they've realized that the freebie is just elongating their pain point. It's like elongating it. Because the way that we used to set these up is that we would do a freebie and then you'd get on an email list. You'd be nurtured for anywhere from 3 to 9 emails, right? And then we like focused on nurture a lot. And then it was like, okay, finally, we've earned the right to offer them something. We offer them something and it's crickets and we wonder why. And it's like they've either checked out They've gone and found someone who's selling it much faster, or they took your freebie and you gave them a solution and now they're like, well, I'm going to live with this alleviated pain. I don't really need that yet. And it's like, for all of those reasons, it is so much better to offer low ticket paid entry experiences. So whether it's, like a tripwire, like a 10, 17, $27 thing that's like, here's a guide to get you started. At least then you know that the people that are getting on your list, they're willing to pay value for the solution that you have. You want to get that process started as quickly as possible. But here's the thing that most online entrepreneurs don't realize. You're actually training people when you start your journey, your customer journey, your offer pathway with a low ticket. Because what you're saying is, look, I value what it is that I'm offering you. I'm going to charge you something. And it actually sends the message that what you have is valuable. There are so many freebies in the market. There is so much that's out there for free right now that people need to be told this is valuable. And the way that we show them that is by charging something. And so what's great is that when you do that, you're now starting them on a journey of being a buyer. They've already started that and they've got some skin in the game. $10, $17, $27. Buyers are no longer impressed by free PDFs or low effort lead magnets. They're just not. They want to pay attention. So this matters because if your strategy starts with get them on your list to nurture them, you're already behind. Today's buyers want immediate clarity and quick results, even in the first 30 minutes with you. And so I just really want to encourage you, have something at the beginning of your offer pathway that is a low ticket that actually costs a little something. Okay. Number two shift from long nurture to fast activation. So the long form nurture sequences are getting skipped. People are if they're getting a freebie, they're getting the freebie and then they are unsubscribing. They're not even listening to your 3 email sequence. They don't even care. People do not want 9 emails. They want one experience that shifts them today. So 2026 buyers want a felt transformation before they invest more. If you don't activate them in the first few touches, they're going to find somewhere else to be. And so what that looks like is shortening the line, like shortening the process to get them in. And, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but, making sure that all of your content that's findable out there is driving to that entry point is super important. Because if someone finds you at 11 o'clock at night, midnight, and they're like, oh, I love this, I like it, what else do you have? They're actually going to go and find their own freebie content from you. They're going to go find your YouTube channel. They're going to go find your social media channel and look at your stuff. They're going to go find your blog. They're going to go find your podcast and they're going to binge. And so if you have that kind of content out there, you already have freebie nurture content out there. The issue isn't that, when people say that nurture is dead, that we don't nurture anymore, that is so incorrect. I need you to hear me. Nurture isn't dead. It's just shortened. That's it. Nurture happens overnight it's from 7 days to 70 minutes now. Like people, when they find you on an ad, they want to know who you are. They go do their Instagram research. They find you, they binge your stuff and they're like, yeah, I want to buy it. That's how it works now. And so we've got to get into the mindset that they're not going to do long nurture anymore. They're going to go fast activation. So whatever you have out there, it needs to be pointing to your first paid opportunity. All right. Number three, massive shift going into 2026 from funnel templates to flexible sales systems. Now, I think we already knew this throughout 2025. This is one of the ones that actually started breaking down early. But why it's important to know this is because most of us, if we're in online marketing, most of us have learned funnel automations. And then they wanted to try and teach you a flywheel. And so it's like, oh, it's just more touch points. It's just more ways. It's more nurture built in. That's all the sales flywheel is. Okay. But what is a flexible sales system? In my workshop, I taught simplified sales systems. I gave them 3 sales systems that were templates that they could look at and say, which one of these could work for you? So in a simplified sales system, you want to look at your funnel and you want to consider what is the path to least resistance for your ideal customer? And that may not be like, it may very well be that it's got to go through the DMs. And you're like, oh no, I'm never doing DMs. I will never do DMs. I was in network marketing and I got burned by that. And people hate me now because of that. They won't talk to me. I'll never do DMs. It's not about the DMs. It's about how you did the DMs. And right now, being in people's DMs and having honest, like authentic conversations that serve is a massive way that we sell. And I'll tell you, like in my programs, I run ads. That's the beginning of my simplified sales system, is that I run ads. I do organic and I do sales sequence emails to my newsletter list, but for like they all work together. So just know that when you run ads, you're actually going to get more visibility in your organic post. It does work that way. Like I have the data to show it. I get 4x to 5x visibility on my organic posts when I run ads. And when I shut the ads off, it goes back down. So if anyone's telling you that it doesn't matter to your organic if you're running ads, they are not telling you the truth. I have the data to show it. So I run ads that actually increases my visibility in my organic posts. And it also works together with my email, because what happens is I'll send an email, but I'm also running ads. So the people on my newsletter, okay, the AI in Meta knows that they're on my email list. They know because they've probably opted in through an ad previously. That's on my pixel, on my data set. Sorry, it tells you how old I am and how long I've been using Meta ads. So it has that data. So it's actually knowing to send it out. And you're like, well, did you do a retargeting ad? No, that's the beauty of the AI on Meta ads now. You don't have to do retargeting. I just did an entire ad set where I put everything in one ad set, and I did like a story sequencing of videos and graphics. And I like did all, I like really sectioned it out like as a story sequence and what I thought my ideal customer would want to see first and second and third. I put it all in there, didn't tell Meta what order to put it in because you can't. And I watched Meta tell my story. I watched how it decided what would go first, what would go second, what would go third. And I also know that I don't have to tell it my retargeting because it has all that data in it. And so it would retarget. So I would start to see that my open rates on my email would increase when I was running ads too. So it all works together. So when we're thinking about funnel templates to flexible sales systems, or what I call simplified sales systems, you have to consider that a simplified sales system may have additional components in it, but we're trusting that they're all working together because the AI is getting them to work together. So I do use ads at the front of my process, but it wakes up my organic social, it wakes up my email. And then even if I do use different links between my ad and my organic stuff. But what's really interesting that I'm finding is that they're opening my emails, they're reading my posts. I'm seeing that I'm getting engagement, like I'm seeing people read stuff, but they're still clicking through the ad. And they're using the link that's on the ad. So I'm like, this is so cool because it's all going together. I have a really loud car outside. Sorry. And so I use ads. And then I also send a sequence in my email. And then I also do organic posts. So those three ways are the top of my simplified sales system. And then we come in. And then it's just like, now they're doing a low ticket workshop. They have an opportunity to opt into an upsell for VIP. I serve them with everything that's in me for 3 days to 5 days. And then they get an offer at the end of that. And that's my simplified sales system. And what I've learned, listen, is that if someone comes through and they actually interact with me in my workshop, and this time it was a Voxer thread, and then they had the opportunity to book a call with either myself and or my tech expert, my tech specialist, Kat. And here, can I just tell you something? Kat has a 100% closing rate. If people get on a call or in the DMs with Kat, they like, for whatever reason, like they're sold. And can I just tell you something? Kat is not a hard salesperson. She's not. She's just a servant. Like she's just a servant-hearted individual who's like, let me help you to determine if this is for you. She doesn't hard sell. She's like, let me show you what it does. Let me show you what this looks like. Let me show you what this could look like for you. And she takes the time with them to show them. I work from the coaching end. So I talk about strategy. I talk about planning, what it's going to look like, how you're going to plan out your funnel or your offer pathway. And I work that way. So what we found is that calls, like getting on a 15-minute call, is a very powerful piece to a simplified sales system. And it's not just me. I've talked to other people who are also using calls now, because once you get to a call and you can actually talk to people about their specific needs and any objections they have, you can generally help them to see whether this is for them or not. And generally, if they're thinking it could be for me, but they just have some questions, they're generally a good fit by then, especially if your messaging has been properly done so that you are filtering out anyone who's not an ideal buyer for you. Okay. So going from funnel templates, which are just like, plug and play, like what everybody has, to more thought out, discerning sales systems. I think that's a big deal for 2026. Number 4, big launch energy to intimate real-time sales events. Look, this is something that I never bought into. It was just because it's just not part of my makeup. It's not part of my situation. I am a member of different programs that have thousands of people in it, but I never wanted to build something like that. And so in all the years when I was learning from these people how to build these big things, I was like, this doesn't feel good for me. It felt like Saul's armor for David. I was like, this is not how I want to operate. Like for me, my vision is to have no more than 250 people in my high touch proximity membership, my mentorship. And then of those 250, be working with 10 to 15, maybe 20 of them in high touch situations where I'm working with them for 6 months and we are like getting them from 6 to 7 figures or something. That's my vision. That's how I want to operate, because I want to work high proximity. I don't ever want to be that coach that's selling you on, I'm going to coach you, and then I turn you over to my team, or I turn you over to a bunch of videos. I will never be that woman. I won't. So when I'm talking about going from big launch energy to intimate real-time sales events, I'm happy because that's all that I ever did. And so I don't have to scale down. I don't have to shift. I don't have to pivot. But that's good news for you too. You do not have to try to do some big launch. You don't have to try and sell 1,000 people. Like, start with the intimate real-time sales event, like a workshop, like a challenge, something simple, because that's where it's working right now. All right. Next thing, number 5, we're going from content overload to clear buyer-led messaging. So this is what I was talking about earlier when I said, look, all of your content should be pointing to your offer pathway, and specifically the first way that they work with you, the first way that they can step into your offer pathway. This is not about tips and tricks energy. This is not about like all that nurture stuff. It's not. It's about, look, I want to help you. I am the person to help you. Here's why. And here's the button to press so that you can get into my world. And I'm telling you, that is what buyers are looking for right now. So you don't like, that's why when I do this podcast and I'm telling you this is done with you, because the higher the proximity that I can get to you in this, and the more that, like, I point you to the next paid thing every single time. Like, I have a call to action at the end of every episode, because I'm like, you want to work with me. I want to help you. And this is how to get the help. And so we have to move away from this idea, this poverty thinking, actually, that's like, I have to give so much more before they're willing to buy. I don't think you realize that today's buyer, they want to buy today. You just need to show them how you can help them today. If you can show them how you help them today, how you solve their problem today, then they'll buy from you today. And that's the kind of messaging that you need to be putting into every post, into every ad, into every piece of content that you create. So we're going from content overload, the nurture swirl, to clear buyer-led messaging. Sound good? All right, number 6, we're going from selling the dream to solving the real problem. Nobody cares about your brand new house that you just built on your coaching winnings or revenues, okay? Like, we're not motivated by that anymore. It's about, I need my real problem solved, because everybody has a different, like, even if you're a coach, an expert, an online educator, a membership leader, whatever, okay? you're going to have your own goals. You're going to have your own thing that like makes your soul sing. And while many of us may want a bigger house or to be able to pay off something or to be able to breathe financially, that's fine. But that's not why we're doing what we're doing. That's a side effect, right? It's like the way that we're doing our business is not because we're like, if I do it this way, then I'll be able to make a lot of money. At least not as a kingdom entrepreneur. I do not think that that is the primary. I believe that we build businesses, and the women that I coach, I know that you want to make impact and income. It's both and. It's not either or. You're not just here to make money, and you're not just here to make impact. You want both. And we've got to stop thinking like, oh, well, when my business is like this, then I will have, and go back to what problem are you designed to solve? Who are the people that God has given you? And what is the thing that he's put on the inside of you that actually solves their problem and gets them where they want to go? Because that is heart-led service. And that kind of service is selling. Like, you need to sell that. And so that's why I believe that people are done with like, I don't care about your Ferrari. I don't care about your boat. I don't care about the fact. I am starting to get so weary of being on Instagram and watching people post their Stripe screenshots. I don't care. Like, first of all, you could take that from anywhere. Okay. So I don't even know if I buy it all the time, but nevertheless, even if it's true, what value? What value? Because you think that that's what's going to move me? Like, yeah, great. I'd love to make $20,000 in a day. Fantastic. But what did it cost to get you there? What did you like? I want to know, like, how did you help people? And will I feel overwhelmed and burned out to have to do that? Or can I really solve the real problem? So I would rather see where people are actually solving problems and feeling fulfilled in the business that they're building, and it's making them revenue, you know? And quite frankly, that's what the data is showing, that buyers, they want that too. You know, your people don't want hype. They want to believe their next right step is doable and that someone will actually help them to do it. And that's what they're looking at when they're looking at your ad or your post. Number 7, our buyer is going from passive learning to co-creation and coaching support. So if you're a coach, if you are an educator and you help people to learn something, they do not want a replay list anymore. They don't want a portal, some kind of like stacked up courses without access, feedback, or community are getting ghosted. Buyers are seeking containers with coaching, feedback, and real implementation support. If your offer is just passive videos, you're going to get passive results. Buyers now want collaboration, guidance, and accountability. And that is what most of my feedback is in my programs. When I ask them what worked for you and why was this a success for you, they're like, because you were there. You answered my question. You helped me to see how this works for my thing. And I don't care, like, this doesn't just work for coaches and course creators and membership leaders. This actually works for other things like shops, physical products, and services. It's like, if there's no proximity, I do not want to be a part of this. Like, I don't even go down that road. It's too much. So really, you want to think about, how can you produce an experience that is done with you? That's what we call it. How can you walk with people? All right. Number 8, authority-led positioning to relational-led trust. So the era of look at my mansion, now buy my course is dying. I mean, I think it's dead. But 2026 buyers follow people they feel safe with, and not just people who flex success. So why this is good for you is that you already lead with faith, integrity, and clarity. No matter what the size of your business, you already lead that way. You lead with faith, integrity, and clarity. That's your edge. That is your favor point. That is the place where you shine. So you can build trust, not hype. You can show receipts, not just revenue. And I'm not just talking about the revenue receipts. I'm saying you can show receipts in terms of like what's important now is not just saying, oh, well, my customer took my course, my client took my course, and now she's having $20,000 days. Okay, that's fine. But what if you are working in a niche? What if your ideal customer is someone who's just getting started? What if they just want to know that that you've helped people to start and like start effectively, like get their first offer out there, right? Then they're going to want to see receipts from your testimonials of people saying, she helped me to start and I'm still going. I didn't burn out. I didn't quit, right? These are the kinds of receipts that the buyers in 2026 are wanting. They don't want just the numbers. They want to see the quality. They want to see the subjective stuff. Okay. Number 9, we're going from niche focused brands to identity driven movements. So buyers don't just want to learn from you, they want to belong with you. It's true. Movement driven brands are outperforming niche silos. So, like for instance, my membership is the Jesus Girl Gang community. It's not just a business name. It's an identity. Like that says something to someone when they're like, I'm joining what? The Jesus Girl Gang Build with Faith mentorship? The Jesus Girl Gang? Okay, I get that. I get what that is. It has a feeling to it. That's an identity. And identities build longevity, loyalty, and deeper lifetime customer value. And I've got the receipts for that because my retention percentages are very high. Like people stick around with me for a very long time. And it's because we've built a culture. It's because we've built a community. It's a real community and it's a culture. And we connect and we interface and we like we actually have conversations and there's proximity there. And so you want to build an identity driven movement. And, like this is having common language. It's, having inside jokes, it's knowing how we do things and what we value together. It's like, if you can have a manifesto for what you're building, then it's likely that you have an identity driven movement. And not just some like, oh, well, I identify because I serve this type of person. Yeah, well, these days that market is saturated. There are so many people out there doing it. So what's your unique selling proposition? It's got to be at this time, identity branding. It has to be movement driven. Okay. But that's good because, like if you're a kingdom person, like that's a movement. We belong to a movement. So this shouldn't be too hard. Last one, and then we'll close it out. You ready? Our buyers are going from scalability obsession to meaningful sustainability and impact. So I talked about this earlier. I said to you, my vision is not that I would have thousands of people in my membership. That to me sounds like hell. I don't want to have a bunch of numbers. I don't care that would make me millions of dollars. I don't care. I don't want it that way. Relationships are most important to me, and how I serve and how I connect with people and how they feel. It's most important to me. And so I am happiest when I am connecting in that way. So I'm not so concerned about scalability. I want to make sure that the culture and that what I've built, it's working for the people that are there. And then I take the next step in scalability if I want to grow up a little bit more. And it's not my primary. Whereas, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, this is what everyone was teaching was you don't want to just have 100. Why have 100 people in your membership when you could have 10,000? If you have systems, you can run it just the same. No, you can't. Because at some point you're going to lose the human touch. And with AI coming online, and that's going to be the bonus that I'm going to share with you, you cannot afford to do that. You cannot afford to lose heart and soul, because that's my bonus shift is AI solves and replaces everything to AI has no heart or soul. So now what? So I want you to start to think about like, these are the things that are shifting. Your activation step today is to get in there and think about which of these massive shifts most personifies something that I can grab a hold of and really leverage in my business this year. Because I just gave you 11 things that are shifting about the market. There's got to be at least 1, 2, maybe 3 things that you're like, I'm really good at that. I could really harness that. I could be an expert at that. I could really set myself apart in that. And that would give me an edge. And that's what you should be thinking about. You do not have to think about all 11 of these shifts for your business. You really want to think about what are the 1, 2, or 3 shifts that I could actually harness that will really make a difference in my business, and that I actually already have the gifting, the hardware, and the offer that can fit that. What is that? So that's why I always want you to have a notebook, because I want you to journal that out. I want you to sit down with the Lord and ask, like, okay, which of these 11 is for me? Okay. That's what we're going to do. And I'm probably going to do some posts this week over on Instagram that highlight some of these massive shifts, so that if you wanted to, come over there and follow me on Instagram. I'm at Erica Pyle, and you can get on that post and you can read it so that you can do, because I didn't write in the description here what all of these massive shifts are. Okay. So make sure that you're over there, get your journal, do your activation step, and let's get going. Now, before we go, I just wanted to let you know about something that's coming. Okay. Are you ready? So as I do, I've been putting together workshops, and I'm getting ready to bring back a workshop that was wildly popular and helpful last year. We did it. We ran it last August. It's called the Jesus Girls Business Launch Lab. And I wanted you to be the first to know that we are running it the week of January 26th. So it's just a few weeks away, and it's not open for registration just yet. Although I do think you can get on the wait list if you go to jesusgirlgang.com/launch lab. But I would get on the list so that you're there. I'm definitely going to send out an email so that you know about it. So do not worry. Okay. But this launch lab, it is the place where it's not just about launching anything, it's about launching the right thing. So if you found yourself in a situation where you've got an offer, maybe you've put it out already, it's just not doing everything that you thought that it would, and now the market is shifting and you're like, how do I show up in this market with what I have to offer? Then sister, the launch lab, it's for you. Because like I said, it is a launch container. We are going to help you to get launched. This is the place where you're going to find clarity around your ideal offer, your ultimate offer. You're going to know who your ideal customer is. And we're going to help you with that simplified sales system so that you know how to get out there, get your message, your offer in front of the right person, and get moving in this market. So, whether you just need a refresher because you're like, I've been doing stuff, it's just not working as well anymore, and I need a refresh, or whether you're like, I've been trying to get started and I just can't get traction, then sister, the launch lab is for you. So go to jesusgirlgang.com/launch lab, get on the wait list. Okay. And then when we open it up, and I think we're going to open up registration like on Tuesday, I'll come back. Well, actually, I don't even need to come back here because the link is in this description. And when it goes live, it'll just move from the wait list to the actual sales page. So you'll be able to get registered. And like I said, the workshop starts on the 26th. So we will get into it then. And it's a pretty involved situation. You get a lot. For the workshop ticket. So I'm sure that next week when I come back for the podcast, I'll be telling you all about it. Okay. All right, friend, I'm so glad to be back with you. I hope that you got a lot out of this. Share this with someone if you know that there's somebody, if you have a business bestie that you know needs this information. Go do your activation step. Come find me on Instagram and get on the wait list for the launch lab. All right, friend, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.